Good morning, AP World. It's been a long time. If you don't remember who I am, Menenberg. That's right, it's Menenberg. Now, this is long overdue, so I apologize. I know you probably missed me. Some of you are still having night terrors or withdrawal symptoms because you haven't seen me in so long. In any case, I'm coming to you now through video to talk to you just a little bit about the coming AP exam. Now, I know that you've probably seen the emails, you've probably seen the social media posts, whatever. If you've been living under a rock and have been out of touch with the world, let me just tell you what's going on. The College Board has come out and changed the format of the AP exam in order to kind of meet the needs of where everyone's at with this COVID-19 situation. So essentially, they've changed the format of the exam. It is no longer a 3.5-hour test with 55 multiple choice questions, 3 SAQs, a DBQ, and an LEQ. It is now one 45-minute online test. The test is a free response only test, so there are no multiple choice questions. The likelihood that it is a DBQ is almost zero, so good job everyone, DBQ, accomplished. And the likelihood that it is an LEQ is also very low. It's possible, I wouldn't count on it. Most of the AP World community worldwide believes that it is going to simply be the SAQ portion of the exam that you would have had otherwise. Okay. Now, in case you forgot, the previous format of the SAQs is 4 questions. The first 2 are required and are stimulus based. The third and fourth question are non-stimulus based questions, and they have a choice. So you can choose to answer either 3 or answer question 4. Okay, my suspicion, and this is shared with many other AP World teachers, is that you are simply going to get that. You're going to get it in an online format, and you can take it, and it's going to take 45 minutes. You're taking it at home, done. So that's both good and bad news. Okay, here's why it's good news. It's good news because, you don't have to worry about DBQ. You don't have to do a million practice multiple choice questions. And you can take it in the comfort of your own home. You can wear sweats, whatever, it doesn't matter. The bad news is that a lot of you, and I mean a lot, are still struggling with SAQs that are not even stimulus based. Okay, a lot. Now, I've had a good number of you during this pause send me writing samples. They're usually SAQs, and some of them are great. Some of you are heading in the right direction, and it's great that you're doing practice. A good number of you I haven't heard a word from. I don't even know if you're still alive. I hope you are, but come on, people. You need to be doing some practice. I've been saying this all year, but those of you who are doing practice, the majority are not doing practice on stimulus-based SAQs. Now that's okay because you are still going to have to answer a non-stimulus-based SAQ. But even those ones that you're answering, a lot are still struggling with the level of specificity that the College Board is looking for. Now, we've been talking about this all year. I've given you so many practice SAQs throughout our time together. But a lot of you are still struggling. Now, you've used this time wisely in terms of content review, and that's great. Content review is huge. I know you're doing, looking over your notes, you're rereading AMSCO, you're watching Heimler video, fantastic, okay? But it's not going to be enough. And the reason it's not going to be enough is because if our suspicions are correct, which we'll see on the 3rd of April for sure, you're going to have 2 SAQs. 2/3 of this new exam is going to be stimulus-based, that you'll have no idea what the stimulus is. You can't prepare for that stimulus. You will not have seen it before in all likelihood. And your ability to write at a very high level or a college level is going to be dependent on your comprehension, your reading comprehension level, that is, and the ability that you have to write in a quick way. Okay, I'm going to talk about those things one at a time. First, the reading comprehension piece. Okay, I've told you all year that you need to be doing a lot of reading in order to increase your reading comprehension. We've given you vocab throughout the year that should help your reading comprehension, but we've also done independent reading that should help your reading comprehension. If you have kind of ignored those things or let them go by the wayside during this pause or perhaps even the whole year, it's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. So it's not too late, but you're going to need to do a lot of reading in order to get fast at reading and in order to increase your reading comprehension. Okay? Most of these stimulus-based SAQs that I've seen, and I'm looking at one right now from the practice exam that they've released that you don't have access to yet, it's a long paragraph. And it's written at a high level, and it's not super easy to understand if you haven't been doing this for a while. So you need to increase your ability for reading comprehension by simply doing reading. That can be independent reading, that could be historical reading, that could be practice questions, that could be stimulus-based multiple choice questions. It's just reading, okay? That's going to help. The other thing that's kind of a real concern for me is the timing element. And the reason the timing element is such a concern is because those of you who are listening to this and have found out about the test are thinking, great, 45 minutes, that means, and it's online at home, that means it's open note. That means I can text my friends. That means, I can do a Google search or whatever while I'm taking the test. Sure you can. Sure you can. I'm not saying you can't. In fact, the AP or the College Board has even said it's more or less open note. It's de facto open note. Here's the problem with that, though, my friends. We've done open note SAQs during the course of the year, and I've put you on the clock, and those have largely been non-stimulus-based questions. The problem is that it takes a good amount of time to look through your notes to find the information that you might need to answer the question. The bigger problem, however, is that, as I mentioned earlier, these are stimulus-based questions. These stimuli are usually primary or secondary sources you will not have access to prior to the exam. It's not as if you can just look up this stimulus and have it deciphered for you instantly. You are going to have to do a lot of that on your own. And the fact is, even without your notes, if you had no notes and you were taking this in the normal setting, timing was going to be an issue for many of you. But if you try, and I'm not saying don't try, I'm just warning you. If you try to do this with your notes, I'm telling you right now, the majority of you, if you were taking the test today, would not finish the test. The 45 minutes is a shorter amount of time than you realize. It's going to take you a good amount of time to read the prompt, to read the stimulus, to comprehend the stimulus, to plan your answer, and then to write your answer, okay? It's going to take some time. And most of you are simply not going to have nearly enough time to look up, I don't know, your notes on the Song Dynasty, for example, to see if it might just work for this particular prompt. Instead, what you should be doing is, again, continuing your content review, but more than that, you need to be practicing these types of SAQ questions and getting feedback. I released a lot of them on AP Classroom. I will release more. I will put a timing element in there for you as well to help you prepare. But in the meantime, you still have, clocks and timers and all that other stuff. You can do this on your own. And then I would also suggest you look at other resources like albert.io. I would tell you to, Heimler has review stuff. You have 5 Steps to a 5. You have the SAQs from AMSCO. All of these are practice. You need to just keep on practicing. And in particular, you need to practice those stimulus-based questions. If you're not doing those practice types questions, this test is going to be brutal. Okay, it's going to be brutal. Because previously, on the old format, the normal format, 20% of your grade is SAQs. 20%. Now, it's 100%. Okay? And if you've struggled with SAQs throughout the year, it's go time, people. You got to get the practice in. Your teachers are here for you. So I've been getting sample writing from a lot of you. Not like half, but like out of my 61 students, probably a dozen of you have sent me stuff. The rest of you, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're up to. But if you showed up for the AP exam and haven't been practicing, it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a really bad day. Now, I'm not saying that to discourage you. In fact, when I heard the news about what the test is going to be like, I'm like, oh, great. Our 5 rate is going to go through the roof. But then I thought more about it, and I started looking at these questions on AP Classroom, and I'm like, these are tough. They're really hard. They're not questions that you can't handle, but they are questions that are going to be incredibly difficult for you if you haven't practiced. To give you an example, and you can look through these on AP Classroom because I've released a lot of them. Most of the first prompt, so most part A for these stimulus-based questions asks something along the lines, I've noticed this throughout a lot of them, something along the lines of what is the author's main argument, or what is a claim that they're making, or what is their point, something along the lines of demanding that you know what the author's trying to get at. Okay, what is their point? What are they? And it might be what is their point in relation to other people's point of view. And so you really have to understand, because again, these are not going to be spelled out for you. They are not easy stimuli. Okay, not easy at all. I mean, you've been there the whole year with these multiple choice questions. You've seen a lot of these SAQs. They're not easy. They're not easy. And they're not going to be something that you just get in a second. They're going to take you a little bit of time. And that's why this whole 45 minutes, it's not a lot of time. It's going to go by really quickly. And I don't want you to be panicked. I want you to have a plan on how to attack each of these problems. So as I've suggested all year long, it's imperative that you read through the questions first, that you answer them in order of ease, and spend the most time on the questions that are going to take the longest. So in other words, you should definitely answer first. So if I was attacking this whole thing, I would look at, again, you're likely going to have two questions that are a choice. So question 3 and 4 are non-stimulus based, and you'll get to choose. I'm going to answer question 3, or I'm going to ask you. I would pick one of those first, because the chances are those questions, the non-stimulus based ones, are going to be a little bit easier, because you can just draw upon your content knowledge and your understanding of history to answer those. I would then look at the two stimulus-based ones, and I'd answer the easiest one first. Always the one that looks easiest. Perhaps you can look at the source information, and it's from a time period that you studied a lot of, or it's from a region that you're very familiar with, and you answer those ones first, because again, there's going to be a question, and hopefully it's only one, that's just going to take a little bit more time. The College Board suggests that you spend anywhere between 12 and 14 minutes for an entire SAQ. That's an A, B, and a C. That's not a lot of time. But some of them are going to take you a little longer. Some of them maybe take you a little less. That's why it's an average. But the truth is, if you're drawing on your notes and looking up and texting your friends and all that, I'm just telling you, you're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of time. Okay, people. I don't have a lot more right now. I'm going to probably have a commentary on the AP information that they released on April 3rd, which is going to be all the details of the exam itself. I'll probably give you a little bit more information on that if you don't get it from the College Board directly. But in the meantime, I'm hopefully going to be posting a video or two walking through some of these stimulus-based questions that I've put up there, and you can follow along right there on the AP Classroom. If you haven't accessed that or haven't started doing some practice, it's time to do that. Okay, and again, I check that so I can see who's done it, and I can provide some feedback, and I can score them for you. So you really need to be taking advantage of these opportunities. You have the time, and at this point in time, the district hasn't been super strict in terms of what's expected of you. That's going to change very soon here, if you haven't heard. So let's take this opportunity to do what we need to do. I'm here. Your AP World teachers are here if you need help. Please send us emails, reminds, whatever, and let us know what would be beneficial to you moving forward. Okay? Hope you're having a good week so far. I will talk to you later on.